जय गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे। जय जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। दाय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर् भक्तिर् श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 23, Text 8. We will recite together the text and will read translation and purport given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. तेन क्रमानुसिद्धेन ध्वस्तकर्ममलाशय प्राणायामैः सनिरुद्ध षड्वर्गश्छिन्नबन्धन। तेन क्रमानुसिद्धेन ध्वस्तकर्ममलाशय प्राणायामैः सनिरुद्ध षड्वर्गश्छिन्नबन्धन। तेन क्रमानुसिद्धेन ध्वस्तकर्ममलाशय प्राणायामे सनिरुद्ध षड्वर्गश्छिन्नबन्धन। मलाशय ध्वस्तकर्ममलाशय प्राणायामे सनिरुद्ध षड्वर्गश्छिन्नबन्धन। तेन क्रमानुसिद्धेन ध्वस्तकर्ममलाशय प्राणायामे सनिरुद्ध षड्वर्गश्चिन्न बंधन. Anyone else? So we'll read word to word meaning. Tena. Thus by practicing such austerities, karma, gradually, constantly, siddhena, by perfection, dvasta, smashed, karma, fruitive activities, mala, dirty things, asaya, desire, pranayama, by practice of pranayam yoga, breathing exercises, sun, being, niruddha, stopped, satvargaha, the mind and senses, chinna bandhanaha, completely cut off from all bondage. Translation. By thus practicing severe austerities, Maharaj Prithu gradually became steadfast in spiritual life and completely free of all desires for fruitive activities. He also practiced breathing exercises to control his mind and senses, and by such control he became completely free from all desires for fruitive activity. Please repeat. By thus practicing severe austerities, Maharaj Prithu gradually became steadfast in spiritual life and completely free of all desires for fruitive activities. He also practiced breathing exercises to control his mind and senses, and by such control he became completely free from all desires for fruitive activity. Purport. The word pranayama is very important in this verse because the Hatha yogis and Ashtanga yogis practice pranayam, but generally they do not know the purpose behind it. The purpose of pranayam or mystic yoga is to stop the mind and senses from engaging in fruitive activities. The so-called yogis who practice in Western countries have no idea of this. The aim of pranayama is not to make the body strong and fit for working hard. The aim is worship of Krishna. In the previous verse, it was specifically mentioned that whatever austerity, pranayam and mystic yoga practices Prithu Maharaj were performed for the sake of worshipping Krishna. Thus Prithu Maharaj serves as a perfect example for yogis also. Whatever he did to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. The minds of those who are addicted to fruitive activities are always filled with unclean desires. Fruitive activities are symptomatic of our polluted desire to dominate material nature. As long as one continues to be subject to polluted desire, he has to accept one material body after another. So-called yogis without knowledge of the real purpose of yoga practice in order to keep the body fit. Thus they engage themselves in fruitive activities, and thus they are bound by desire to accept another body. They are not aware that the ultimate goal of life is to approach Krishna. In order to save such yogis from wandering throughout the different species of life, the Shastras warn that in this age, such yogic practice is simply a waste of time. The only means of elevation is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. King Prithu's activities took place in Satyuga, and in this age, this practice of yoga is misunderstood by fallen souls who are not capable of practicing anything. Consequently, the Shastras enjoin Kalau nastev gatir anyatha. The conclusion is that unless the karmis, jnanis and yogis come to the point of devotional service to Lord Krishna, Their so-called austerities and yoga have no value. Naraditah. If Hari, the Supreme Personality of God, is not worshipped, there is no point in practicing meditational yoga, performing karma yoga, or culturing empiric knowledge. As far as pranayama is concerned, chanting of the holy name of the Lord and dancing in ecstasy are also considered pranayama. In previous verse, Sanat Kumar instructed Maharaj Prithu to engage constantly in the service of the Supreme Lord Vasudeva. Yatpad pankaj palas vilas bhaktya karmasayam gratitam udgrahayanti santah. श्री गौर निताय की जय, श्री राधा मदन मोहन जी की जय, श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय. Only by worshipping Vasudeva, one can become free from the desires of fruitive activities outside of worshipping Vasudeva. The yogis and jnanis cannot attain freedom from such desire. Tadvan rikta matayo yatayo piruddha sroto ganastama arnam bhaja Vasudevam. Here the word pranayam does not refer to any ulterior motive. The actual aim is to strengthen the mind and its senses in order to engage them in the devotional services. In the present age, this determination can be very easily acquired simply by chanting the holy name Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vashadi Gaur Bhaktarvrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Seeking blessings from His Grace Anand Mahaprabhu, a senior Vaishnava sitting here, and all the assembled devotees. I'll try to speak on this sloka, very elevated, so I'll make my attempt to do this. So we see in this chapter, it is shown how a elevated personality act in a way to go back home. Maharaj Prithu is going back home. Is there. So here this sloka narrates that how Prithu Maharaj practicing severe austerities, and by practicing severe austerities, gradually he became steadfast in spiritual life and destroyed his karma and became joyful actually. So that is completely free from all desire for fruitive activities. Then only one control his mind and senses by pranayam and cut his all bondage, desire for fruitive activities. This is the way Prithu Maharaj has practiced. It is shown in this actually. Prithu Maharaj is a Sakyavesh avatar, very highly elevated. He is not an ordinary king, not ordinary human or personality, a great personality. He is a Sakyavesh avatar. And he is in different yuga, Satyuga. Prabhupada says, so King Prithu's activity took place in Satyuga. and also practicing very difficult process. Actually, the way it has been described here, he acted in with severe austerity. Actually, uh, so his austerities are there. Most of the people uh, are in Satoguna, and very difficult in this age to retire from family life and at the same time remain at home. Even in Satyuga also this was the situation. So at that time austerity eh, was done in going to forest, more severe austerity, normal austerity at home also, but at the time of retirement, avanaprastha type, to going to tapovan actually. So to control mind and senses actually. So going to tapovan means forest life, eating only forest produce, and all whatever available, no cooking, directly eating, and different types of tapa, 5 types of tapa, fire tapa, and igniting the fire and sitting before the fire in the hot summer actually, and rainy season completely getting drenched and rain actually, in winter with open, without cloth to face the cold actually, and sleeping only on the floor, nothing actually, and eating all forest produce actually. So this is the life Prithu Maharaj went through actually. So what is the purpose of going through all this austerity for Prithu Maharaj? It says in purport also, in the previous sloka it is said, to please Krishna actually. So, and to become eternally happy. Any other purpose to do all this austerity, one will be defeated. Parabhavasthavadabodhajato yavan jigyasata atmatattvam yavat kriyasthavadaidam manovai karmatmakam yena sarira bandha. Any other purpose other than the Atma Tattvam, which is to please Krishna. That is the real Atma Tattvam. Not simply knowing we are soul, but what is the duties, what is the service of the soul, what is the activity of the soul actually. So, if purpose is not known, the austerity, whatever is done, is of no use. Here purpose is and in this age, this practice of yoga is misunderstood by fallen souls who are not capable of practicing anything actually. They want to copy or imitate actually. Oh, he has done so much, I also go to a forest, I will do so much austerity. But what, for what purpose actually? This is the important is there. If the purpose is not clear, the austerity may be for his own fulfillment of his own desires actually. And the real purpose is whatever austerity here Prithu Maharaj is doing, to please Krishna actually. So what will be the result? That Sadvarga Chinna Bandhana. All the Sadvarga actually, the mind and all 5 senses, Mamevanso Jivaloke Jivabhuta Sanatana Mana Sasthanindriyani. Man and 5 senses together is called Sadvarga. Mana Sasthanindriyani Prakritistani Karshati. We are struggling with all mind and senses in this world. So once we are get free from Sadvarga, Chinna Bandhana, then we will become free from the material bondage actually. So in the past, different personalities in different ages, different practices were there actually when we are seeing in Satyuga here. So, so it is the duty of every human being, born is to jigyasata atma tattvam. One has to inquire about, one has to have jigyasa to what is the atma tattvam. If he is not jigyasata atma tattvam, तो पराभवस्थावद बोध जातो यावन्न जिज्ञासा जिज्ञासता आत्म तत्व यावत क्रियास्तावद इदम मनोभय वॉट एवर अवस्थावत क्रियावद कर्मात्मकम ये न भरी तो वन हैज टू गेट फ्री फ्रॉम कर्मा बंधना एक्चुअली द एक्टिविटी शुड बी इन अकॉर्डेंस विद द आत्म तत्व एक्चुअली सो वी सी in other ages also, here it in Satyuga, in Dwapar Yuga, Dhritarashtra, all throughout his life, he was always thinking in fruitive activity. He was always want to fulfill his desires, and he was a victim of his fruitive activity actually. At the end, after the war is over, Vidur Maharaj comes and he actually he always having compassion towards Dhritarashtra. So at the time he spoke very harshly to Dhritarashtra. What you have done in your life? At least now go to forest, practice. And under his advice, Dhritarashtra went to forest. There also, he said in Bhagavatam, jita mano, jita swasa, pratyarata sadindriya, haribhavanaya dvasta rajo sattva tama malaha. Jita sano, jita swasa, pratyarata sadindriya, haribhavanaya dvasta rajo sattva tamo malaha. So, there also we see what is the common factor practicing in earlier ages. Hari Bhavana is the factor. Jitasano, Jitaswasa. So he is controlling the senses. Asana, with the asana, and Pratyarata Sadindriya, with the practice of Sadindriya, all the six senses, mind and senses, winning over them actually. Hari Bhavanaya Dvasta, and cultivating the Hari Bhavana and smashing Sattva Raja, Rajo Sattva Tamahamala, whatever the impurities come from the practice of ignorance, passion and goodness. Although Rajoguna and Tamoguna, passion and ignorance are polluted, but even the Satoguna and goodness also, it has the also Rajoguna and mixed with Rajoguna is not pure. In this material world, even the goodness is also not pure. So one has to free from all these three gunas actually. The common factor is Hari Bhavana, Krishna Bhavana. And the fact is that this has to be practiced under guidance actually. Without guidance, the Hari Bhavana cannot be developed actually. And the austerity, what is mentioned, is so severe. If we consider ourselves, we are nowhere to this actually. And we cannot practice also. Neither we are Prithu Maharaj, nor we are Dhritarashtra, Pandava, Prahlad, Dhruva, not our capacity to do such austerities. So why we are hearing all these so severe austerities? How? What is the relevant in our life? So even hearing it, we shall die. That's all. We have to go and practice like that. Just by somebody says that you have to do like this, we'll die. We cannot practice, we'll die itself, actually. But Lord is very merciful because, and in the Kali Yuga is a degraded age. Prayena alpayusha sabhya kalu asmin yuge jana manda sumanda bhagya upadrita actually. So Alpayusha, short-lived, Prayana Alpayusha, all the living beings. Manda Sumanda Mateo, they are very lazy and they are also not so active in practicing spiritual life, and all are unfortunate, Manda Sumanda Mateo, Manda Bhagya, and they are disturbed with all small, small things actually. This is the situation of Kali Yuga. And where is the practice, this austerity, where to concentrate, give up everything, go to forest? It's impractical actually, it's impractical. So why we are all discussing in this, all practical? But you see that Lord has is so merciful. The intent, there is actually any practices, there is a quantum, content, and there is a capacity, and there is an intent actually. So in that yuga, quantum, the capacity, the content was very high because the person's capacity is also very high. But intent is same, to please Krishna. The same manner, our capacity is very low. So Krishna is very considerate. And given the means austerity in this age, which we can practice with the same intent to please Krishna. That is the what relevance is there in this. The same what result Prithu Maharaj got from this, his practices, same result we get from our practices. As you see in Lord Ramachandra, Hanumanji was lifting boulders and putting in the sea, and where the spiral also bringing a sand, putting in the sea. Ram was very much pleased, not seeing what capacity you are having and what is content what is quantum you are bringing. You boulder Hanumanji bring. No, he's seeing his the spirals intent actually. Intent is very important in practicing Krishna consciousness. At the same time, it's not that according to our capacity, quantum is also there. If our capacity is more, quantum is also more actually. That is there. So in different yoga, Ashtanga yoga, Hatha yoga, Bhakti. So what is Hatha yoga, Ashtanga yoga? That is meditation. All these are type of practice. We are seeing in Kali Yuga also having some Hatha yoga means very deterministic and going to forest and all this, Ashtanga yoga, meditating, dhyan yoga, then Bhakti yoga, which is comprises of Karma yoga and Gyan yoga actually. So in all these, there is a pranayam. It is called mystic yoga. Prabhupada says it's a mystic yoga. And purpose of pranayam is to stop mind and senses from engaging in fruitive activity. That is the purpose of pranayam. People not knowing the purpose, they just practice only to control breathing exercise to make body fit. But for what purpose we have to make body fit actually? To control the mind and senses. So Prabhupada mentions here that fruitive, and that is controlling senses, mind and senses from engaging in fruitive activities. And Prabhupada defines what is fruitive activities. Fruitive activities are symptomatic of our polluted desire to dominate material nature. One is we are having first polluted desire. And to fulfill those polluted desire, we want to dominate the material nature. That is fruitive activities is there actually. So, and what is the polluted desire? Because we are having material bodies, and when we want to fulfill our desire, polluted desire, the waste of time is there actually. Then we are not going to gain anything. Again will be remain in bodily consciousness. So that's why it is given that pratyahara actually. So pranayam, yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. This is the Ashtanga yoga is there actually. So pranayam without pratyahar is of no use actually. Pratyahar for what? Even we do austerity for, that's why we have been given do's and don'ts. And pranayam, Prabhupada mentioned, This chanting holy names and dancing is pranayam. This is what Prabhupada is saying here actually. Performing, cultivating meditational yoga. The conclusion, so kalo nasteva nasteva gatiranyata. Shastra says also, there is no other way, no other way. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Evi Kevalam. That is the pranayam. And with that pranayam, what happens? Dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Our conceptions get changed. Dharana, dhyan, our meditation, focused way to please Krishna, and then we got into samadhi. That is also Swarupa Siddhi. Jivara Swarupa Krishna Nitya Das. That is the way actually. Even the Ashtanga Yoga can be practiced, but the point is that it has to be practiced under guidance. We see other also. So Prabhupada says about pratyahara. Pratyahara means turning the senses from material attachment to the loving devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. That is a pratyahara actually. Turning the senses. So only a partial yoga is practiced about asanas. To some extent people go to pranayam. But actual meaning of pratyahara, for what purpose pratyahara? For pleasing Krishna actually. So Prabhupada, following Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, instruction, that is Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So it is given that, so Prabhupada says this pratyahara, this is called, process is called pranayam. What we practice in pratyahara, with the intent of pleasing Krishna is called pranayam actually in the. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given the complete package of in the Kali Yuga. Whatever result the Prithu Maharaj got in the Satyuga, we can get in the present Yuga also actually. And it's given complete package of Krishna consciousness for all. What is? Naham vipro, nacha narpati, napi vaishyo, na sudro, naham varni, nacha grahapati, na vanastu yatirva, kintu pradyo na kila parmanande, purna mritabde, gopi bharto padakamalayo, das anudas. It is for everyone. You say, no varna, ashram, nothing. Anyone means. We have to go beyond actually. This one actually. And under all situation, grahe thako, bane thako. Not going to tapovana. Even we are at graha, and because in Kali Yuga, all are tapovan only. Even graha is tapovan, forest is tapovan. Everywhere tapovan is there actually. Prayana alpa yusha sabya kaleyasmin yuge jana. Because situation of this Kali Yuga human being is this only. Because very short-lived, disturbed, unfortunate. So everywhere he is finding tapovan only, all difficult age to survive actually. That's why this is tapovana. And we have to perform Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam under the guidance and association of devotees. We see even in the previous Yuga also, Prithu Maharaj following Chatuskumara. Previous chapter, whatever Chatuskumaras instructed to Prithu Maharaj following. Dhritarashtra followed Vidurji. Whatever instruction Vidur Maharaj gave, followed. Dhruva Maharaj followed Naradji. Prahladji followed Naradji. Pandavas followed Naradji. There is a guidance, shelter, how to attain this Krishna consciousness, how to attain this Hari Bhavana. So it's the complete package is there. Seva, seva bhav, samarpan bhav, akinchan bhav, and then prema bhav. It is not simply directly prema bhav. First one has to attend first seva bhav, samarpan bhav, akinchan bhav, and prema bhav. That's why we say, so by under the guidance one has to do swadhyaya, seva, samarpan, prem. This is the sequence. In the package, anything is missing, we cannot complete the Krishna consciousness. Hari Bhavana cannot be developed. In the Kali Yuga, There is a market going on, buy one, get one free. It is not like then practice one, other will automatically come. All the things we have to practice. Seva bhav, samarpan bhav, it will come automatically by chanting, but under the guidance and in the association. That is the condition is there. Condition apply for all these things. Without condition, automatically it will not happen actually. This is there. So, what is there? So, what is the practicing? Now we can see the Prithu Maharaj practice very severe austerities. So, what is our severe austerity in the present age? What is the pranayam pratyahar for us? Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, offenselessly, attentively, without material attachment. It's very good, very big austerity. It is not so small austerity. Same austerity what Prithu Maharaj has performed, going in Tapovan and doing all 5 types of tapa with fire, water and air and sleeping floor and eating all things. Same things is available. It's so austerity to do, chant offenselessly, chant attentively and chant without material attachment. We are in Tapovan only. We have to do it actually. So, we see, and that is called, then we have in Pratyahara, regulative principles, 4 regulative principles, that's all. That is our austerity. Severe austerity is there in the Kali Yuga to practice this actually. And we are in Tapovan. Anywhere, only Prabhupada has made these temples where we can feel Vaikuntha. Otherwise, outside everywhere, Tapovan only actually. That is the thing is there actually. And we see that when Lord Ramnami has just went and we see the Lord comes, Prithu Maharaj showing as a kingly duties. Ramachandra ji came, has given the Maryada Purushottam as human form, Kartavya Parayanata. Krishna Chandra comes, Lord Krishna comes, Prema Parayanata. But our Gaurachandra comes, he mixed both Kartavya Parayanata and Prema Parayanata and give in this Ikshastakam. First we have to be Kartavya Parayan, then only we can be Prema Parayan. Without that is our austerity to be Kartavya Parayan first. We have to be Kartavya Parayan first. That is the austerity. What to do and what not to do. That is there very, very interesting. That's why Gaurachandra is so merciful. Ramachandra is merciful. Krishna Chandra is merciful. Gaurachandra is most merciful actually to give all the things actually. And what has happened? Gradually one becomes steadfast in his spiritual life. Chaitanya Prabhu gives Tranadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Saishnu Namani Namanadena. That is the steadfastness. Gradual happens actually when we practice. Then what happens? Destroys karma and become joyful actually. Then what happens once we practice this? Tranadapi Kirtaniya Sadahari. Then what happens? Our karma get destroyed and we feel joyful when we always glorifying Lord, always chanting and hearing about Lord, we will be joyful actually. And control mind and senses by pranayam. There is so we have to control how to do. When we Kirtaniya Sadari happens, controlling senses and mind become very easily, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim becomes very easy. When first is to steadfast actually. Pranayam, pratyahar, steadfastness, then it becomes easy. When we feel joyful in kirtana, then the mind and senses automatically become very easy to be nadhanam and bhakti ahetuk. We only desire, our desire get purified. Bhakti ahetuki tvai. This is Sikshastakam gives us. And cut his all bondage of fruitive activities. When it happens actually, we are get free from Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Visme. When we feel our so akinchana bhav comes, and because first is to have the seva bhav, then we have samarpan bhav. Na dhanam, na janam, this samarpan bhav. Then Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram akinchana bhav. Then we get Krishna bhav actually. So Ainanda Tanuja. Then we get special mercy, anugraha of Lord to be get love, prem of Lord actually. So Bhagavan and Bhakt, what is there? Where they are all active. Because Bhakti is Atma Tattva, Bhagavan is Paramatma Tattva. And because their spirit, they are always active. And in what sense they are always active? Para dukkha dukhi. Bhagavan is always seeing the distress of our jivas and he always want to remove the distress. And bhakti is also assisting Lord and taking the austerity to become joyful and remove the suffering of others. So working together. And devotee should also be very active because he has to receive the mercy, he has to receive the anugraha, and with that anugraha have developed the compassionate heart and see the others suffering as own suffering that is there. This is what we can have the same feelings what Prithu Maharaj is having in Satyuga. Same things with our limited capacity. Lord has given limited quantum, but intent is same to please Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Please forgive me if I have spoken something beyond my capacity, but whatever I have felt speaking, please forgive me. Any questions, any comments? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, पृथु महाराज की जय, गौरचंद्र भगवान की जय।